Hello friends, very most welcome to all of you in this our online lecture series. Friends, today in this lecture we will complete our topic variation of mass with velocity. In previous lecture we have discussed something about of variation of mass with velocity. So today we will continue in our lecture series and we will complete here how mass varies with velocity. So here we will continue and we will see variation of mass with velocity. Friends, in previous lecture we have discussed the ratio of mass m1 and m2. We have find result m1 by m2 is equal to 1 plus u dash v by c square upon 1 plus u dash v by c square. We have found the ratio of mass m1 and m2. Friends, we have found this result under the condition when we have assumed two frame of reference S and S dash with their origin O and O dash. S and S dash with their origin O and O dash. We are assuming here the frame of reference S dash is moving with velocity with uniform velocity v, and also V was considered two identical particles are moving in opposite direction to each other. We have considered the velocity of this particle A is along positive x-axis and velocity of particle B along minus negative x-axis. Hence we have assumed the velocity of particle B was minus u dash. So under this condition we have found this result. Friends, now we want to find out the value of 1 plus u dash v by c square and 1 minus u dash v by c square. How we can find out the value of 1 plus u dash v by c square? If you will see the velocity of first particle A with respect to frame S, then we have found the result u1 is equal to, we have considered the velocity of first particle A with respect to frame S was u1. We have assumed in previous lecture. So we have found u1 is equal to u dash plus v upon 1 plus u dash v by c square. We have found the value of u1. Now friends, here we will make a small assumption as a formula for find out the value of 1 plus u dash v by c square. Very simply, here you can see the term 1 plus u dash v by c square is present in this formula. So for find out the value of 1 plus u dash v by c square, here we will keep a small assumption. We will find out the value of 1 minus u1 square by c square. It will be 1 minus. How we can find out the value of 1 plus u dash v by c square? With the use of this small assumption as a formula we have written 1 minus u1 square by c square. We can find out the value of this term. How we can find out the value of this term and this term? We will see here 1 minus 1 by c square, we can write it u1 square will be u dash plus v upon 1 plus u dash v by c square to the whole square. Now we can write here 1 minus, with the help of LCM, here we can write 1 plus u dash v by c square to the whole square minus 1 by c square u dash plus v to the whole square upon, in the denominator we will find out 1 plus u dash v by c square to the whole square. Now after simplification we can write here 1 minus u1 square by c square is equal to 1 plus, here we can expand by the formula a plus b to the whole square. So here we can find 1 plus u dash square v square by c4 plus 2 u dash v by c square. After expansion of this term we will find out this result. Now here it will be minus 1 by c square. Here we can expand it also, u dash plus v, then we will find out u dash square plus v square plus 2 u dash v upon, in the denominator this term will be present here, 1 plus u dash v by c square to the whole square, 1 minus u1 by c square, u1 square by c square is equal to, we can simplify it, 1 plus u dash v square by c to the power 4 plus 2 u dash v by c square minus, we can multiply 1 by c square by all these terms, then we will find out minus 1 by c square minus u dash square by c square minus v square by c square minus 2 u dash v by c square. This term and this term will go cancel out upon, in the denominator 1 plus u dash v by c square to the whole square, this will be present here. Now here the remains term we can write here 1 minus u1 square by c square is equal to, we can write here 1 minus v square by c square, 1 minus v square by c square, and in this term and this term we can see u dash square by c square is a common, here we have common u dash square by c square, then here it will be plus, then 1 minus, here it will be 1 minus v square by c square upon 1 plus u dash v by c square to the whole square. Now we can write here, after simplification, value of 1 minus u1 square by c square is equal to, this term is common, hence we can write 1 minus v square by c square in one bracket, and in the next bracket 1 minus u dash square by c square upon 1 plus u dash v by c square to the whole square. It will be such as 1 minus u dash square by c square is equal to this term. Now we want to find out the value of 1 plus u dash v by c square. How we can find out the value of 1 plus u dash v by c square? Here we will see. From this equation we can find out 1 plus u dash v by c square to the whole square is equal to 1 minus v square by c square into 1 minus u dash square by c square upon 1 minus u1 square by c square. We want to find out the value of 1 plus u dash v by c square only. So if we will remove from the square, then we will get all this term in the square root form. Friends, here we have found the value of 1 plus u dash v by c square. Similarly, we can also find out the value of 1 minus u dash v by c square. So 1 minus u dash v by c square, here we can find out in a similar way, and we will find out the result 1 minus u dash v by c square is equal to, here all these terms will be same here, but here at the place of u1 we will find out in this result, at the place of u1 we will find out u2. So here we can write in the square root 1 minus v square by c square, 1 minus u dash square by c square upon 1 minus u2 square by c square. Here we have found both the terms 1 plus u dash v by c square and 1 minus u dash v by c square. So after place the value of both these terms in the equation, m1 by m2 is equal to 1 plus u dash v by c square upon 1 minus u dash v by c square. The value of all these terms we will place, then we will find out the ratio of m1 by m2 is equal to, here we will place the value of this and this. My result was, my equation was 1 plus u dash v by c square upon 1 minus u dash v by c square. If we will place the value of both the terms from this result, then we can see here this and this result is same, so it will be cancelled out, and we will find out the value of 1 upon under root this and 1 upon under root this, then it will be in the reverse form. So after simplification we will get here, it will be in the reciprocal. So we will find out 1 minus u2 square by c square upon 1 minus u1 square by c square to the square. We will find out the ratio of m1 by m2. After simplification we will find out this term. Friends, remember, please very carefully listen to me. Now here we are considering a condition. Here we have assumed two identical particles A and B. Particle A is moving along positive x-axis and particle B is moving along negative x-axis. It was my assumption. Friends, if we will consider, we will imagine the particle B is at rest with respect to frame S, then u2 will be 0, because in previous lecture we have told you u2 is velocity of particle B with respect to frame S. So if we are considering particle B is at rest, then u2 is equal to 0 and m2 is equal to m0. here m naught is known as rest mass, because now we are considering particle B is at rest position, it is not moving, it is my condition. So if we will place this condition, we will apply this condition in this result, then we will find out at the place of m1 we will find out m1, at the place of m2 it will be m naught is equal to, when u2 is equal to 0, then this term will be 0. Hence we can find out 1 upon under root 1 minus u1 square by c square. It is our result, m1 by m naught is equal to 1 by under root 1 minus u1 square by c square. Friends, here we are repeating my condition. We are assuming here, if particle B is at rest, then its mass will be rest mass. Friends, remember, please listen to me very carefully. Here we have assumed both particles A and B are identical. If mass of one particle is m naught, because both particles are identical, it was my assumption in the starting, in the previous lecture, first part of this topic. So we have assumed both the particles are identical, so we can realize very easily if both particles are identical, and here we are telling you particle B have mass m naught, rest mass. Here we are saying that particle B is at rest, so its mass will be rest mass, and we have shown m2 is equal to m naught. If this is m naught, it also will be m naught. Why? Because this particle is identical to the particle B, or particle B is identical to the particle A. Both particles we have assumed are identical. But here we have applied one condition, particle B is at rest, then their mass also will be m naught. But since we have assumed both particles are identical, so we can realize here, or we can say here, if both particles are identical and we are saying this have mass m naught, it is at rest position, then here we can say very easily, if both particles are identical, then we can realize, we can say here only one mass is present, because both particles are identical. At the place of two mass we can say here, because both particles are identical, it was my assumption, so we can say here only one mass is present, and because this particle is moving along positive x-axis, and we have assumed this particle is at rest, and also we have assumed both particles are identical, so here the mass of this particle, because we have assumed here this is particle B is at rest, then when particle B is at rest, its mass will be m naught. Also another mass will be m naught, we can say here, because we have assumed both particles are identical. Or we can say that in the very simple language, at the place of two particles we can say one particle is present, only one particle is present, which have rest mass m naught, and because this mass is moving, this particle is moving with respect to frame S. Here, why this particle is moving? Because this frame of reference is moving. So here very easily we can replace the u1 by v. Here we want to repeat again. If we will consider this particle is at rest, then this mass of this particle will be m naught, which is known as rest mass, and this rest mass also will be of this particle A. But this particle is moving. If we will assume this particle is moving with velocity u1 with respect to s, it was my assumption in the previous lecture. We have in the starting we have discussed the velocity of particle A and B is u1 and u2. It was my assumption with respect to frame S. So if here u1 is present, it means we want to say that this particle is moving, this particle is rest. So it have rest mass and it have moving mass. And if this particle A is moving, then what velocity of this particle? If this particle is moving with respect to frame S, then velocity of this particle will be u1. And if at the place of two particles we will consider one particle, because both particles are identical, it was my assumption also, then for one particle we can say that as at rest position its mass will be m naught, and in the motion the particle in the motion here in what direction motion of this particle? Motion of this particle is along positive x-axis. It was my assumption also. We have also in the part first discussed the velocity of particle A is along positive x-axis. So here we can assume, since both particles are identical, so we can say both particles are identical, so we can say at the place of two particles, or we can say only one particle is present. Both particles are identical, so we can say only single particle is present in frame S, which have mass at rest is m naught, and motion, and in motion along positive x-axis, and in motion along positive x-axis effective mass is m1. At the place of two particles we can consider only one particle is present, because Here in the rest position we have found mass m naught, and in the motion here effective mass is m1. So here m1 and m naught is present, and u1 is velocity of this particle. After motion, its mass which was at rest, something changes, or we can say that something affected by the motion, and effective mass. So here we have considered m1, rest mass m naught, and in motion its mass is affected, and or we can say that its effective mass is m1. So here we can write m1 is equal to m naught upon under root 1 minus u1 square by c square, or we can write here we have found m1 is equal to m naught upon under root 1 minus u1 square by c square. Friends, if we will consider here, we want to again repeating my concept. Remember this, if at the place of two particles we are considering one particle because both particle was identical, it was my assumption. If one particle as at rest position, then its mass will be m naught, and after motion, in motion its mass will be m1. If we are assuming here we have one particle is at rest, it have mass, rest mass m naught, and in motion, during motion it have effective mass m1. So here we can replace m1 by m, and m2 is equal to m naught. So here also we have written m2 is equal to m naught. Here also we have written m2 is equal to m naught. So only we are writing here m1 is equal to m, and u1 is equal to v. Why here we are writing u1 is equal to v? Because here now we are considering particle was at rest position with respect to frame S, and in rest position it have mass m naught, and because this frame is moving with velocity v, so here u1 is equal to v we are assuming here. So if particle is at rest, if this particle is at rest because this frame is moving relative to this frame, so this mass which we are assuming at rest, this mass is also moving. So in what velocity it will be moving? The velocity with which this frame is moving, the mass is also moving with same velocity. So here we have replaced u1 is equal to v, and we can write here m is equal to m naught upon under root 1 minus v square by c square. It is very most important and very famous result. Here we can see the variation of mass with velocity, how variation of mass with velocity is related to each other. Friends, if we will write here, we will see, if we will see this formula, m is equal to m naught upon under root 1 minus v square by c square. From this result we can see very easily here, if velocity v will be increased, then here m also will be increased. If this term will be long, then by this term, if value of this term something presented here, then for that value which was presented here we are saying that if any value of this term will be presented here, then we will divide from that value to the m naught. So this value will be less from this value. So here we can say that very easily, that is m is increases with the velocity. As velocity increases, mass is also increases. Friends, here we can say if V by C is very less than 1, or in another words, V square by C square is very less than 1, then in comparison to the 1, we can neglect V square by C square, and after neglecting here, so here we can write, so V square by C square may be neglected comparison to 1, and we will find out here m is equal to m naught. In this situation, this mass will be m naught. Here we want to say that its mass will be equal to rest mass. If V is very less than C, if here also in the condition if V is very less than C, here also this condition is written in this form. This condition and this condition here same here. So at very high velocity, what we can get here? What result we can find out from this result? If we will place in the next condition, if we will place here V is equal to C, then we can get here m is equal to infinite. We cannot define the mass. So it is also proved from here, from this result, any object cannot gain the speed equal to the speed of light. So today we will stop here and we will come with the next important topic in the upcoming lectures. Thank you very much.